Oh, back in the apartment, back alive and well in London. Yes, guys, welcome to the George Benson football channel. Welcome to my West Ham versus Chelsea, or Chelsea versus West Ham. We've got a home game at last at Stamford Bridge. Was in Manchester last week for 2 nights, came back here for the Sunday night only. Valencia away has destroyed me. Literally, you guys saw in the video that I uploaded earlier on today, the 6 things we learned with Lawrence, Louis and Weller. I was just an absolute, just a useless human being yesterday, to be honest. There was literally nothing that I said or did yesterday that will ever go down in history as even being remotely average, let alone anything else, to be honest. So thank you to those of you that watched 6 Things We Learned. Thank you to Louis, Lawrence and Weller for actually helping me to get that one done. And in the process of coming back from Valencia, I've left the microphone, which is why the sound might not be so great in this preview today. I've left the microphone with Lawrence, so I'm stuck here with no microphone. West Ham preview, back at Stamford Bridge. It's that time of year where games are coming in every 3 days, which is absolutely amazing if you're a fan of football. If you make videos about it every single day, it's kind of like, whoa. Breathe for a minute, Benson, shall we? So I'm back home. I want to say a massive thank you to everybody who supported the videos out in Valencia. The match vlog, I think, was probably one of the best videos we made. Because it was out late, it's not been seen as much as a usual away day match vlog will. And obviously we didn't win the game. And on this YouTube channel in particular, when Chelsea win, videos do better. When they lose or draw, they don't do as well. But if you want to go and watch probably the best video I've made this season, definitely go and give the Valencia match vlog a watch. But the attention goes away from the Champions League. We've still got work to do there by beating Lille in a couple of weeks' time. I will be at that game. Back to the Premier League. And Chelsea, we're in this moment right now where with all of these fixtures coming up, we've got new injuries to talk about, we've got players that we thought would be back featuring by now that just aren't ready to be playing, and you're starting to look at the congestion of the fixtures. You're starting to think, is Tammy Abraham's hip injury going to keep him out for just 1 game, or is he going to miss Villa in a few days' time as well? We lost to Man City, we drew with Valencia. Before that, we were winning every single game that we played. It's very important with a London derby this weekend that Frank Lampard's Chelsea get back to winning ways, and in this video, going to go through my lineup and I'm going to tell you exactly how I think we will beat West Ham. If we go to the rooftop of my building, which I'm not going to do today, it's bloody freezing out there. It's a gorgeous day with blue skies. It's as if we brought the sun back from Valencia. It was just absolutely lovely out there, 20 odd degrees, gorgeous scenes. I can see the Olympic Stadium, West Ham's home, from the rooftop of my building. And West Ham are in a bit of a sticky situation. You've got 2 teams in North London who, we all thought the blue side of London was just going to be the banter club this season. Nope, Arsenal and Tottenham now have got rid of their managers and we're not even into December. It's brilliant to see. Then you've got another London club, West Ham, Chelsea's opponents tomorrow, who supposedly Pellegrini could well be 1 game, this game against Chelsea away, from actually getting sacked as well. I don't think he will get sacked if West Ham don't win at Chelsea, but he's in a bit of a bother as well at this moment in time because West Ham's form is awful. They've only got 1 point out of a possible 18 in their last 6 matches. They're not playing well at all, and due to a few injuries to some key players, West Ham have looked awful in recent weeks. They were beaten 3-0 by Burnley last week, which, no one saw that result coming. Burnley have been good this season, but West Ham, their fans, I'm sure the manager as well, and even the players will have expected to be doing a lot better by this stage so far this season. So let's take a look at West Ham. Let's take a look at our opponents. One of the key areas of the field that Chelsea will need to look to exploit is the goalkeeper. There is some rumours that Fabianski might be back, and if Fabianski is fit, he is one of the best goalkeepers, or probably is the best goalkeeper outside of the top 6 clubs in the Premier League in my opinion. So if Fabianski's in goal, that is going to be a bit of a pain for Chelsea because Roberto, the man in between the sticks who's been replacing Fabianski, is probably the most out of form goalkeeper in the Premier League right now. He's at a mare. And if he is in the team tomorrow, I'm pretty sure, despite Frank Lampard's diplomatic, coy words in the press conference, I'm very sure that we'll be seeing Chelsea try to pop some from range and trying to test Roberto tomorrow, as he's just been conceding goals for fun for West Ham recently. That being said though, form kind of goes out the window when it comes to a London derby. It's a huge game. Chelsea-West Ham, there's always a bit of a spice to it. Frank Lampard alluded to it himself within the press conference today, earlier on this afternoon. It is going to be a tasty one. There's obviously always been a bit of beef with Lampard, and he signed for Chelsea in 2001, came up through West Ham's academy. They've never really warmed to him, obviously, since he went over to West London. It's the kind of game that is just going to get everyone excited again, as if we hadn't already had enough time to dissect the The lunacy, honestly, whenever Chelsea are playing at the moment, this is why it's so bad for all the organs in my body. Let's just forget the alcohol that was consumed this week, but like, you don't have time to breathe as a Chelsea fan right now because we look shaky defensively, we always look like we're going to score going forward, and the game, like the actual football that's being played on the pitch is so exciting, both from the opponents because Chelsea are often quite open, and what Chelsea play going forward as well. It's crazy stuff. And it's West Ham. It's just like there's no break for it. And then we've got John Terry's return with Villa coming on Wednesday night. It's mental. This is the best time of year to be a football fan for sure. But other than Roberto, who's not in very good form right now for West Ham, there is a couple of players that I want to highlight as potential issues for Chelsea in this game. Felipe Anderson is one of them. The Brazilian, he's a decent player. He's a very handy player. And on his day, can give any fullback in the Premier League a difficult game. When we go into my Chelsea lineup, I'll say exactly who it is I think should be in the right back position in order to combat the threat of Felipe Anderson, but he's very good going forward. And he links up very well with Sebastian Haller, who is West Ham striker, bought him from big money from Frankfurt last season. And he is also a big danger. And if we look at where Chelsea have been struggling, yet again, it is the defence. If you watch the 6 Things We Learned video, Louis Beneventi came up with a very good point about the positional play between Zuma and Christensen in the game in Valencia. The gap between the two centre-backs was far too big. I do expect Tomori to come back in for this one, and I probably think it will be a Zuma and Tomori partnership again. But whether it's from a free kick, whether it's from a set piece, or whether it's simply from Felipe Anderson running at our defenders, looking to get the ball into Sebastian Haller, with a 4-4-1-1, as West Ham used last time they played, it could be a danger for Chelsea. And I think that if you look at the players in the middle as well, Declan Rice, I mean, yep, Chelsea Academy boy again. It's going to be interesting to see him come up against probably Mason Mount if Chelsea revert back to a 4-2-3-1. We'll get into my predictions for the team in a moment. It's quite an interesting one, this, because I feel as though there could be a midfielder dropped in this game to go back to that 4-2-3-1 formation to tactically exploit West Ham's weaknesses. And one of the informed midfielders could well be dropped as a result of it. But those are the 3 players that I wanted to highlight first of all for West Ham. West Ham will be looking at this as the perfect time to get back into some form. However, there are 11 players that will go out on the field on Saturday for Chelsea that definitely have something to say about it. You've got Kepa, who, yes, he probably didn't have the best game against Valencia, but he's fresh off the back of a penalty save that was absolutely world class. And that's going to do a lot for his confidence. The fact we didn't lose the game, we've kind of all agreed on the fact that he couldn't really do much about the goal. It's just a bit of freakish luck, to be honest. And I think Chelsea, even though Valencia could have scored a lot more, I think when you look at where the chances that were against us were taken, I do feel as though Chelsea were also a little bit unlucky. The referee, I mean, I'm glad I've been drinking because he was flipping atrocious. Like the standard of refereeing now in world football, I'm almost considering just taking up a new career and trying to be a ref myself because I could definitely do a better job than some of these idiots. Swig of the old water. I promise you it is just water. So Kepa's in goal, that's pretty self-explanatory these days. We've got Reece James as the right back. I think that Reece James up against Felipe Anderson is definitely something that I would support. Back into the centre-back pairing, we've got Zuma and Fikayo Tomori, with Azpilicueta starting at left back. I think the way we saw Chelsea line up in the game against Palace, even though Emerson was in the side that day, I think that Azpilicueta, he didn't have the best game in Valencia. Reece James, again, I thought was pretty good. And in this one against West Ham, it's the perfect opportunity for Chelsea yet again to put in a solid defensive display. And I think progressing forward with this Chelsea team, we can all see from the abundance of talent that Reece James has that he is going to be Chelsea's starting right back pretty much every game come the end of the season. When Chelsea reverted back to a 3 centre-back partnership in the defence against Valencia, it all went wrong. And I think on paper, you look at the talents in the Chelsea side, 3 at the back should work with Reece James in more of a wing-back role. It just didn't, in my opinion, and I don't expect us to see it any time again soon under Frank Lampard, with Azpilicueta taking up that role in the left-back position. So we revert back to a 4-2-3-1 that we've seen quite often this season. We predicted the lineup against City, we said a 4-3-3, and I think that even though we lost that game, it did work quite well for Chelsea in the 4-3-3, and I think we will revert back to Lampard's favoured 4-2-3-1 in this game. And it's going to be the 2 in the pivot, which means someone's got to be dropped. I think Jorginho might lose his place for this game. I think that Kovacic, the fact he scored that goal against Valencia, finally, the one thing that's been missing from Kovacic's game, and he got the goal. I mean, let's just watch it back one more time. Yeah! extraordinary. The confidence that's going to give Mateo Kovacic moving forward, it cannot really be measured right now, but I think that in terms of the way he's playing, his form is as good as any midfielder in Europe at this moment in time. So Kovacic and Kante, Jorginho I didn't think had the best game against City, even though I love Jorginho and I'm very well aware of what he brings to this Chelsea team this season, particularly in some of the recent Premier League home games at Stamford Bridge. He's probably been our best player, but I think we're going to go back to the 4-2-3-1, and because Kante has been so instrumental in everything he's done ever since he got to the Premier League, we talk about that virtually every single video, I think Kante and Kova in a pivot could well be something that we see. There's also people that are criticising Jorginho saying, is he able to play in a 2? I definitely think he is, but I think for this one, he might start on the bench and we might see him come on later in the game. Moving into the 3 behind the striker, and the striker is something we need to talk about. Gonna go with Callum Hudson-Odoi, who was back in training this week. He didn't feature against Valencia, but I do think he'll play in this game. I also think we'll see Mason Mount back in the number 10 position for Chelsea, and Willian on the right, which you may be wondering, what is going to happen to Christian Pulisic? Well, I had this little idea, and I don't know if it's the worst idea, the best idea, or whatever, but I had 2 ideas actually. One of them was that Pulisic might be rested for this game because he's had a lot of minutes, he wasn't 100% fit for the game against City, and then he had a big part to play and was probably one of our best players against Valencia on Wednesday. Maybe Pulisic is rested for this one, or maybe we see him play in like a striker's role. I don't know. Do you think it could work? Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments down below. It's very unlikely. We've never really seen him do that before, but with all of these attacking players that Chelsea have and the interchangeability between the likes of Hudson-Odoi, Mason Mount, and Christian Pulisic as well, maybe we will see Christian Pulisic in a brand new role for Chelsea, but I don't think that's going to happen. It's just a hypothetical thought about Tammy Abraham being injured. Does Frank really back Michy Batshuayi or Olivier Giroud? Who knows? We're going to see which one of those strikers he backs tomorrow. The likelihood is, and I think something that would make feasible sense for me, is that Olivier Giroud starts up front tomorrow for Chelsea. With West Ham's defensive issues, with Olivier Giroud's brilliance in the air, and with Reece James playing in the right-back role to whip in crosses, we could see an Olivier Giroud masterclass. I think that his days are numbered at Chelsea simply because of the game time that he's getting. Michy Batshuayi, when he's come on in recent matches, I've not been that impressed with Michy. You guys know that I'm a big fan of Batshuayi, but his hold-up play's not been good enough, and I think as a target man, I just don't think he's got it. And I think as a super sub is where we see the best from Michy, which means Olivier Giroud is my starting striker for this game against West Ham. He's kind of been the forgotten man this season. He's not had many minutes, if any minutes this season under Lampard. Did very well when he was given the opportunity in the Super Cup game against Liverpool, and he's still someone that Didier Deschamps calls upon for France, and I think we'll see him start this game against the Hammers. As we've already mentioned throughout this video, there are games coming thick and fast right now, so Tammy's injury, Frank has said that we'll probably know by Monday if it's going to be something that keeps him out the team for a long period of time. And it's up to Olivier Giroud or Michy Batshuayi, whoever's given the opportunity this weekend. It is up to whoever it is who's picked to show that we don't just need to rely on Tammy for our goals. I think the emphasis again is going to be on Mason Mount. I think that those 3 behind the striker that Chelsea will use will be the key to Chelsea winning this game. And I think whether it's Pulisic, Hudson-Odoi, I just think we're going to see rotation. We've got another huge game coming up against Aston Villa. I'm not dropping Christian Pulisic because of bad performances. I thought he was very good in the game against Valencia, but just trying to give minutes here and there to players who might need them in order for Frank to call upon them to do a job. Do you know what? I do think Chelsea are going to win the game. I think West Ham's form, even though I've said form often goes out the window in derbies, Chelsea, we are in good form. We've had 2 very tricky matches. Man City away, on paper, is the trickiest game of the season. And then you got Valencia away as well. Valencia are a very decent side. We've left ourselves with work to do in the Champions League. We've got Lille coming up in 2 weeks' time. Very excited for this one though tomorrow between Chelsea and West Ham. I'll be at the game tomorrow. I'm excited for it. Chelsea-West Ham, London derby. It is good to be a Chelsea fan right now. I can't get the we got Super Frankie. I can't get it out of my head, honestly. So yeah, Chelsea versus West Ham. It's a huge game. Every single match is huge for Chelsea now. We're out the Carabao Cup, FA Cup, Champions League, Premier League football. This is going to be your home for Chelsea content for the next few months and, well, hopefully for the next few years. I'm quite enjoying doing these videos right now. Thank you for all the support this week. It's been absolutely crazy. First thing tomorrow morning, there will be a Premier League predictions video for all of this weekend's games coming out. So stay tuned for that one. Check out the match log from Valencia if you haven't yet seen it. 6 Things We Learned was uploaded earlier today as well with Weller and Mr. Beneventi, and of course the cameraman, Lawrence Benson, who delivered some valuable insight into what we saw in Valencia. But thank you guys for watching. I love you all, and I'll see you all later. Goodbye.